What is going on, everybody? Happy Toyzday. B, what is up, my dude? How are you?
Oh man, I think we probably got the oh fuck in there at the very beginning. I'm almost positive we did.
So, okay, we, for those who don't necessarily understand, and I don't know how, I just need to take 5 seconds and fix it. Our intro thing, it's just short enough that you'll see us if we're on there. So in the past, when we'd click it, it would automatically just cover us anyways. We're muted. It didn't make a big deal. But if we don't remove ourselves in time, you guys just see us for a moment, just sitting there with our thumbs up our asses. So that's definitely what happened this evening, as basically B and I were scrambling in the door at like the last minute. Kachina Kachina just slid in there as well. So we haven't even really had a chance to kind of like say hello and get what's going on. 8-Bit Mike, of course, first thing this morning, probably linking in there. Dookie McFartsnip, what is going on? Hobo Toys, what's going on? For those of you who have grabbed the Hobo Toys design, it's not a design if it's physical, right? The physical media print they ended up doing. A bunch of those ended up going out this past week. Super Terrible Toys, fun little fucking piece he ended up doing today. That RoboCop-esque type guy, Jazz Wiz, what's going on? Bootleg Toyco. If anybody has seen it, we're probably gonna pull it up at the end of the show here tonight. But Toys on Tap is actually doing a vote for your favorite sculpt, and Bootleg Toyco actually has one in that competition as well. Acid 9 Toys, what's going on? Folklorian, how are you, dude? I was actually just thinking about you. I saw one of those the OG, the antagonist heads, the OG figure that's from, and instantly my brain went to Folklorian. DTO Keith, what is going on? Zymetco, what is going on? Headcase Toys. Zymetco, I was also thinking about you this week. I was listening to there was a band, and for whatever reason, one of their pictures was in an arcade. And of course, I'm zooming in at the arcade, looking at the background, being like, that fucking Zymetco's painted wall, is that the one he did? Trying to. Anyways, B, I haven't even let you say a single freaking thing since you got in. How are you, man? What's going on?
Oh,
What's up?
good. You know what, dude? You brought up the Hobo Toys zine, and I was hoping to have that by now. And honestly, I might have that by now. I just don't have it in my possession. It's probably down at the post office. I'll probably get that in a few weeks when they decide to fork it over to me. So
I got you beat on that one. I somehow slipped on the unit number on it, and not only is it going to the wrong unit, but it's going to an empty unit right beside me where nobody lives. Originally, I thought it was going to these folks over here where I could just knock on their door and be like, give me my fucking shit. No. It's going to an empty mailbox. So
nice.
I'll figure that one out. That'll be fun. That's all on me, my dude. Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll make it down there tomorrow and try to swoop that up. So, but yeah, it looked great, man. I saw God, I don't know whose page it was on, but I saw somebody do just kind of like one spread of the page that was open, and it looked great, dude. It looks like really really good quality. I know that was something that he was happy about when we were talking to him about it. Pope Toys, what's up, man?
Pope Toys, dude. I was thinking about them today too. I kept on meaning to reach out, man, and say thanks still. And honestly, those bases, if anybody hasn't grabbed some Pope Toys, the fucking Pope Toys bases with the label maker Pope Toys has been sculpted. Anyways, banger. Chef's kiss, dude. Such a fucking solid. Yo, honestly, okay. And we were kind of touching on it, even just moments before the show. Kachina Kachina, man. Join us tonight. In the post this morning, of course, and I don't know if you're the same, the Sunny figure is the one that jumps out of my brain. But the more you scroll through that page, there is some astounding shit in there that I had not seen or not linked or remembered or something. But there was some mind-boggling pieces the further you go back, dude.
Dude, somebody in the comments today on the post, I want to say maybe Elixir Toys, somebody like that, said when we were talking about that, somebody had mentioned the paint, and I think he said, man, best in the biz. And then you start looking through that profile and you realize why people say that, dude. And it's just like some of the shit. Didn't we look at like those bug people like a week or two ago? And
yeah, so the number 2 combo. Number 2 combo figures he did. Well, what's strange with that, and again, we're probably going to get into it later tonight, but in my opinion, the further you dig down Kachina's line, the more you kind of see the reason that they work with certain people. You know what I mean? You start kind of be like, oh, snaps, like the fun gustings and all the mushrooms. Then you see like this dude's been doing fucking the game of shrooms every year and has like the danglies and you're like, okay, like this kind of makes sense. Like with the number 2 combo figure, you've got the almond has like the wings and like the antenna, and you go far enough back, and there's like a Kachina figure where it's got like these very geometric-esque spins on the head, and it's hard not to kind of be like, damn, okay, but dude. And what's wild to me, because I find you always notice this on makers who are just kind of on to something. You go far back, and there's fucking Wonder Goblin commenting on certain pieces, being like, "Oh, this is great, dude." And you're sitting there being like, "Wonder Goblin, you have sculpted so much stuff. You've been doing that. You've seen so much. The fuck is Kachina Kachina?"
Dude, it's and that's the one thing that, dude, I mean, it's not the one thing, but I think is one of the great things about this whole thing, right? Is when you get collabs and you get people that make dope shit, and then people who paint dope shit, and it comes together, and you're just like, man, this dope artist painted this dope piece, and it's great, man. I mean, his work, it speaks for itself, dude. You look at it, and you're just like, oh shit. I think, yeah, and like you said, collabs, dude. The first piece that I got from him was a collab with Don or Don't Care and ETC, and that goes back, gosh, dude, that goes back a few years now. But it's pristine. You know what I mean? It's just.
I'm curious how much stuff they've even done sculptural collabs on. Like we were talking about that even just moments before the show, where I was like bugging you because again, their portfolio, what they're able to do, what they do. It's going to be, this might be one of those ones where it's almost an hour and 45 minutes in, and we're kind of like, hey, so it's been an hour and 45.
Yeah. Well, and how embarrassing that we haven't even had him on the show yet, right? Like, God, dude, what a.
Okay, but I would honestly say there's a couple of reasons that happens with several different artists. One, it's because like we often think like, oh, we don't want to bother these folks. Like they're busy, they're big, they're especially when they're doing this much work, they work with this many people. We're usually thinking to ourselves, like we don't. When Dove comes in, we're not thinking to ourselves like, oh, let's reach out to Dove, see if he wants to come hang out. We think like Dove's fucking busy, you know. Kachina, I assume, is kind of like that same boat. Like we're sitting there being kind of like, well, they've got a lot going on. Like they're a little bigger than us. They're a little bigger than our little 2-cent corner shop.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think that's
like,
kind of.
Hey, I'm making money over here, huh? Dad kebabs. I was definitely stoked when WG gave me a thumbs up for a paint job I did. Oh yeah, Wonder Goblin. Oh yeah, he definitely talks to his fans. That's cool, man. Speaking of talking to your fans, gosh, dude, I saw something from this is besides Kachina Kachina now. This is just kind of like community shit, right? Doc Horror, what's up, man? Slightly Adrift, what's going on? Retro Zone Neon, what's up, dude? Plastic Vomit had put out a post, I believe. Well, I don't even know if it was a post. He sent me a message, and he was saying that the guy who is like the creative director at Kenner, I believe, or Mattel or something, whoever is doing the Star Wars pieces, the Kenner, I guess, some like big dude over there collects his stuff. And his message was basically like, hey, man, I don't think I'm going to have a problem now if this guy's buying my stuff and posting it. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, that's very cool. It sounds like you're out of the woods on that one.
I think again, man, a lot of the times we kind of don't think of where toys fit in and all that. I was watching a interview with some lady the other day. I couldn't get her the entire time. She had this little elephant vinyl sitting right on her desk. And it wasn't as if she was like at like her desk. You could tell it was kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll sit at this desk over here and give you a little spiel about what I do. And all of a sudden, elephant toy sits down. You're just kind of like, and humans, I think, are getting a little bit more comfortable and confident with the idea of these things existing. Like they're not just for children. They're not like a fidget device. It's not as if like you're weird for owning them or having them. Like I think people are definitely starting to kind of come around and recognize that like there's a certain art form to this. And you know, I'm sure it could be a conversation for a whole other time, but you look at guys like Koss and stuff, and even Frank Kozak, it's hard not to kind of be kind of like, well, they kind of built this grandioseness to these things, you know. They almost did kind of help with some of the like the breaking toys into being more than just what you see on a Walmart shelf.
Yeah, I just watched something on YouTube. It was a documentary with Cause, and it had a few people on it, but it was interesting. Mr. Stevie from Hasbro is who that was. Okay, so Hasbro. That shows how much I know about that. But yeah, Gotcha. Yeah, Retrozone Neon. Retrozone Neon does the work with Halo, and it is cool, man. I know of just from talking to some artists of people that buy their stuff, and that's where I feel confident in saying that there are people that know about this. There may not be like high level people actually talking about it publicly, but I think behind closed doors, there are people that pay attention and then do buy this stuff. And I've heard stuff over and over and over again, dude. This being the newest one, the guy from Hasbro, but people from DreamWorks and high level people all over the place that are into indie toys and collect and reach out to other people and talk to artists and stuff, which is cool, man. You know what I mean? It's like I think if they could take it one step further and maybe post that shit on their page, and then some of these people would just absolutely go to the moon, because that's how it works, right? But
it's funny though, if you just pay attention sometimes, like even the vocalist in Carcosa, a lot of times if he's posting, you look behind him on his shelves and you start seeing things, man. There's certain toys behind there and stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry. You hear that shit?
I did hear that. Yeah. Dog? Not your dog. You don't have a dog.
Oh, hell no. I don't have a dog. Okay. No offense to those who own a dog. Dogs are just so much, man. That's all.
I was gonna, dude. You said that. That was an aggressive no. I don't have a dog. You're like, hell no, I don't have a dog. I would love to have a dog, man. I just don't think I'm home enough to properly care for it. Good artistic taste. Yeah, that's true, man. Indie stuff is the only non-corporate source of inspiration for a lot of us corpo slaves. Great point, dude. That's a great point. And we talked about this a few weeks ago, I think, dude, or maybe even last week, but it's hard to see some of the stuff from Hasbro, like the prototype Fets they came out with a few years back. And then I saw a Faker Battle Cat, you know what I mean? I actually have one. And it's hard to not think that, like, well, obviously they saw that from Has No Talent or somebody like that, because it just looks, it's that similar thought thing, I guess, is always there, right? But for some of them, they're damn similar. Yeah.
When this Final Faction line dropped and they did the clear arm, immediately I was like, yeah, you homies on Instagram with like 2,000 followers are certainly watching what the indie toy dudes are doing and snagging a couple ideas. The whole line they have with the Poison edition, where all of a sudden some dudes just have a fucking green dry brushing on them with green accessories. You're like,
well, yeah, dude. And even look at some companies now who have just like it's the same figure, just in a bunch of different variations, right? Like
I love that though. Like, and honestly, one of the ones that catches me quite often are the Chat May. They had like a bad guys soldier line back in the day, and there's like some cops and all that shit. And you can find those guys in like the new Toy Tree. They've got these like Your Army figures. You look at those, same molds. And one of them, I can't even help it. It kills me every time when I see him, because originally he was an African American or a BIPOC gentleman in a police uniform. But for some reason, in all the new editions, they're white. But of course, the original model has model for a different style of hair and facial structures and stuff. But now he's being painted all Caucasian and all that. It's just a terrible mashup, man. And you watch as the degradation of the figure through like the quality differences across the different ripoffs of them. So, yeah. There's even a Star Wars one where Swartars or something like that, or can't remember. But they basically post all the bootlegs from across the globe, from like some of the Tokyo ones and some of the ones that would have come out in Russia. And even you look at those and it's kind of like, oh, shoot, dude, those have inspired so many fucking figures.
Yeah.
Anyways, we can go on forever.
Hope says Chat May. Yeah, we've talked about those before too, man. There's lots of people out there using Chat May. I have actually purchased some of those, dude. You can get them for super cheap. I know that at one point, dude, I think I saw Lab Monkey sell like a whole bag of them for, it was like $30 or something like that.
If anything, LM9 hit me up recently and he was like, you want any of these? And I was like, Chat May bad guy. That's my jam, dude. That dude that fucking, why is it going to escape me now? He's one of the homies here, but it's the dude with like the fucking, almost like Cobra Commander-esque type Drake on there. I remember as a kid, like one of my friends had that figure and just always being so jealous. It was just such a rad fucking figure. Just every time you're playing action figures with your buddy and that dude comes out and you're like, oh, I wish that was mine. Now we're old enough and you're like, oh, God, give me every color. Just fuck it.
Yeah, exactly, man. So what's been up, dude? Let's chat for a couple more minutes, then we'll bring in Kachina Kachina. What's been going on?
You can always tell, man. You can tell. I'm like looking at the clock. I'm like fidgeting.
I know.
Almost
I tried to jump in there because I knew you were about to press the button. But hold on.
Ah, fuck, man.
What's going on with you?
And we've been kind of chatting, man. We kind of keep up to date. I am coming to the clearing. That's the best way I can put it, man. Between just like an onslaught of like new health and shit like that stuff. Last week obviously wasn't here. Been trying to navigate that whole thing. Dental is the most annoying, man. It went from like, I don't think you're going to need a root canal, but you might want to see a specialist about a root canal. That dude's very much kind of like, nah, it doesn't look like a root canal. It looks like you probably need wisdom teeth. So you're running back and forth. They're telling you to go up to a merge. Merge is telling you to go up to a dentist. Your GP is sitting there being like, I don't know, teeth or dentist. You're just kind of like, somebody figure this out. I was even joking with you last week. I was like, dude, if I turn out looking like fucking Two-Face, I'm getting the suit, dude. Like, I'm just going to do it. This side of my face was like, I had a golf ball fucking like thing hanging off of here. I was swollen shut. Couldn't hear out my one ear. And what's funny is you go up there and you're telling these people this, and they're kind of like, oh yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong. We're not really picking anything up on the X-rays or the CT scan, but we'll give you some antibiotics. You're like, well, then you're fucking seeing something. and actually, you know what? Word of the wise for any of the homies that are doing fucking independent toy selling and business like that. Keep good records of all your sales. Recently, I'm getting audited. I'm going back 7 years. I'm literally scrolling through finding like sales for things that might have been $5 and then it's converted to Canadian. And then of course the company that you posted on took their cut. So you've got like $2.45, and that's happening like 50 times to amalgamate to like the $100 that they're asking you where it came from. And you're sitting there just being like, I was talking to the lady the other day, homie. I had to kind of let them know. I'm like, she's like, well, you must have a memory of this. And I was like, I'm really trying to be polite with you, but like, I've actually suffered a brain injury on my 6th concussion recently. And like, I actually have like a damage to my brain where like, I don't have memory of these things. We would have at that time. Maybe at the time I did it. Yes. But looking back, I have no memory of those times. You know what I mean? You're sitting there kind of being like, yeah, you know what, dude? At the time, I might have known what I was doing, but
hey,
I'm telling you repeatedly, I have brain damage. So I have no idea what the heck you're talking about. I'll find it for you, but I don't know what you're talking about. How you been?
It's great defense, man. I just don't remember. You know what I mean? I mean, what do you do? You can't make me remember. Busy, man. Abby graduates in a couple weeks, and the stuff for seniors is just stupid, dude. It's a lot of stuff that I don't remember doing when I was in high school, but now it seems like there's all these events for seniors, and there's a different one every night. Been to 2 or 3 this week, and then there's another one tomorrow. So it's just always something, staying busy. But heading on down to SoCal on Sunday for work. I'll be out there for a few days, which is going to be pretty lame, but that's about it, man. Just staying busy. I can feel the heat starting to come. It's going to be just drastic this year for sure. It's miserable, dude. Trust me, it really is. It's bad.
I don't know, dude. Every single time that DNS talks about Arizona, I cream.
Oh well,
like,
yeah. I can appreciate that. I know that place is that place. I mean, they have booming AC and tire businesses for a reason, man.
I've said it like 1,000. For some reason, top 3 favorite feelings in the entire universe: getting into a car that's been sitting in the sun all day. There's just something so good about opening that car door, sitting down. It's all stuffy and warm and dry, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm just give me a hoodie, give me a toque. I'll be out for a bit. See you guys later.
What is wrong with you?
Had a guy ask me that the other day. My answer was instantly just a lot of autism. He's like, you wearing a toque? A lot of autism.
Duke says it was 97 out there already. Get the hell out of here, man.
I honestly can't even really put that a lot of the times into. I'm often Googling what the heck you guys are talking about when you're doing that. And then I'm also trying to do the same for you guys when I'm like, oh yeah, it was 31 here today. And you're like,
whatever that means. Retros on Neon says, man, these old geezers talking about health and the weather. I agree. Let's move on to
toys. man. All
Someone's gonna
right.
turn the show on like, what the hell is this?
That's every time. Almost every single time I try and tell myself, the first like 5 minutes before the show, I say to myself, when B says, "How's it going?" Do not treat this as therapy. Do not treat this as therapy. Do not. A simple, "I'm all right, man. How are you?" is fine. It will suffice.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. No giveaway this week. We will be back with the giveaway. Actually, next week is going to be a -2, right? Because we have the GI Joe show, so we will follow up the following week.
Yeah.
We'll do something cool. Oh God, tornado warnings there today. That's disgusting.
Never experienced anything like that, so I can't even comprehend. You want to pull this Yahoo in? Kachina, you good to come in, my friend?
Ready to go.
Totally good. Hey
Oh,
guys,
how are ya?
I'm doing good. How are
What's
you?
up, man? How's it going?
It's going good.
It's going good.
Yeah, I heard about your tooth. Sorry about that.
Whatever, man. Part of being a human. Soon we'll be in
Yeah.
cyborg suits. It's got to happen
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you at?
I'm in Portland, Oregon.
Oh shit, you're over here on the West Coast. Nice.
Yep. Yep.
Very nice.
It's kind of rainy over here today.
Yeah, dude, I was born in Southern Oregon, but I lived in Eugene for a while. I know that's a little bit more south than Portland, but yeah, dude, that's one thing that I remember is just the weather there was just always kind of dreary, kind of like DT O'Keefe is up there in Seattle or close to Seattle, but it's similar up there. So cool, man.
Yeah.
Dude, let's talk about this show. Let's just jump into the show, and I think that's going to lead to other things here. Your show is tomorrow. And
Yeah.
that's an online show here on Instagram. Tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll ask you a shitload of questions about it.
Awesome. Well, yep. So my newest toy is this time bender, Captain D, and he was based off one of my original resin toys that I sculpted. And so even way back then, I was like, I want to make this jump to vinyl, and talked to some people about it. Did the Sunny project in between, and also tried to get another couple projects kicked off that needed to be re-engineered. And so I put those on the shelf and kind of decided to really pay attention to it, do a sculpt in Nomad, and then come up with this Captain D character. So
Nice.
yeah, I got like 10 people that I have been in custom shows with that did an amazing job in those shows, and also people that I've worked with and kind of really admired their work in the past to participate in the show. And yeah, they're like some huge hitters, Wonder Goblins painting some stuff up, Extra Terrestrial, and Maggitarius. I'll just name everybody off. Donner Don't Care. You know, the stuff she's done with the hair has just been crazy in the past.
Definitely.
Dirty Yeti, Barely Human, Bootleg Toy Co., False Idols Toys, Stray 7, and Topher Toy. And each one of those guys has such a unique style that's pretty different than one another, and just amazing work. So I was really honored to have them be in the show.
Dude, I agree, man. That lineup right there. I've talked to a few different artists over the last week or so about this show. And I said the one thing that I really, really like about it, dude, is it's a very focused show. You know, it kind of brings your piece back into the light. And that's something that I really like that like ETC does with his pieces, you know, how he gives those out, or you purchase the piece from him, then you paint it up however you want or do whatever you want to. And I think that kind of keeps that piece alive in a way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That
and
yeah, go ahead.
I actually have been in a lot of ETC shows and really like the model of how he does it, and really like the benefit that it kind of mutually has for everybody. Everybody gets to cross-pollinate their audiences and get some new eyes on it, and also just get a lot of exciting different representations of the same theme. So I thought his concept and the way he handled it was really good. I use that as a model for this.
That's awesome, dude. You know, the other thing that I really like is the number of artists that you have in there. Nothing against shows that have a lot of people in them, but I think with a show like this where you have 10 artists that have different painting styles, dude, you can really spend a lot of time on each artist and kind of look at everyone for a little bit longer because there's not, 80 to 100 pieces. Those shows are great, man. Those are fun. But when we do those, the goal is to really not make it a 3-hour show. And then you only get a couple, maybe a minute on each piece. But this one, the number of artists, is that something that you keep in mind? Is there a reason that you kept it at 10?
Yeah. So I wanted to keep it small mainly because this is the first time I've hosted a show like this.
Sure.
And figured like it's a manageable number. I've tried to communicate through a group text, but also primarily to people directly, making sure that everybody is comfortable with where they're at, that if they need any help, let me know about that, because we're just basically all going to launch it at the same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. And so everybody's going to drop at the same time. We're going to have a unified frame that sort of brands everything together so you know what you're kind of looking at. And then the hashtag Time Bender Group Show is how you're going to be able to see all the pieces at the same time, sort of like in a gallery.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. God, some of the artists on there. I just saw something that I saw a bog dweller that Strafe 7 had painted up just before we got on here. I don't know if you saw that one or not. I mean, it was clear, and then he dude, that was super sick. But
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, there's going to be some. That's going to be some killer artists in there. So, and now are the pieces going to be for sale, or is that just kind of up to the artist?
As far as I know, everything's for sale and it'll be sold directly through the artist. So like if you see something you like at the hashtag, hit the artist up or go check their shop, and it should either be in there or DM them directly.
Nice. Yeah, dude. And 10 is a good number, but even ETC's shows, I mean, I want to say they're like between 20 and 30, which is also like a really good number. What a great model to do that after. Just kind of a more kind of focused show. Akashic Records, what is up, man? Cool. So that's tomorrow. The show will be tomorrow. We will probably, I want to say we would try to cover it next week, but there's another show. But we'll definitely bring up some of those pieces here in the next week or so and try to take a look at those.
Awesome.
Let's go back to when it all started, dude. You haven't been on the show before, so thank you for being on the show.
Oh, totally.
But going back to when you first started off, man, it seems like, now you said that this is not the first toy that you've designed, and you do a lot of paint and stuff. What brought you into, maybe community is wrong word, but what brought you into kind of toy design and toy painting?
It's a little bit of my past, and it like coincided with some events that happened in my recent past. And so when I was young, I used to make a lot of models, a lot of model kits, a lot of like sort of dioramas and paint them up. And a lot of the time, or eventually I sort of advanced to saying from spray cans to airbrushing things. And so when I was, and this is like, probably 11 to 13 or 14 or something like that, like making a lot of models and painting kits and kit bashing and stuff like that. So then there was like a whole lot of life that happened after that, and I kind of set it aside. And then around 2018, 2019, one of my associates that I had worked with a lot passed away. And so we were working in a pretty big advertising agency and did a ton of work. But while I'm sitting there at his funeral, I'm kind of like, I remember working with him closely, but like all those jobs we did are kind of like, they're so ephemeral, they are here and gone, like the people that we worked with during those times aren't really present here, like none of the clients present, right? So at that point I was kind of like, I feel like I need to at least spend a chunk of my life getting back into tangible artwork, something that like isn't digital, something that doesn't get thrown away like a program for something, or
Sure.
you know, like you make posters and maybe 5 of them exist somewhere. And so
Right.
I'm like, I want to, you know, used to doing packaging, used to thinking about other people's product, like I'd like to make my own product. And somewhere right around that time, I came across some feeds that had Remji and Candy's work in it, and seeing the work that they were doing early on, and then was looking at ETC's work, and then other resin people that were doing cool design with card backs, and was just
Mm,
like, oh man, this like combines everything that I'm interested in and
yeah.
have been do as a profession. And so that's really how I got into resin. And then not too long after that, wanted to get into vinyl. And so it was just a matter of like going that route. And then like, oh gosh, like in late 2019 or 2020, I hooked up with Mac at Elixir Toys and
Yeah.
started painting Fungustings. And we've been doing that for several years, and have just painted up a ton of those vinyl toys, and got like a lot of opportunity with him to um, paint a lot of stuff and really sort of develop my style and come
Yeah.
up to speed pretty quickly from where I was at using airbrush as a kid. So
Yeah.
I had a good foundation that like was like work with muscle memory a little bit, and a whole new color palette. And
Sure.
you know, since since that time, like Wonder Goblin's come out with all of vinyl Wonder paint, which wasn't really even available. It was trying to get imported vinyl paint from Japan, which was tricky. And
Yeah.
so like he's totally revolutionized, I think, like our ability to produce and paint like really super sick toys.
Yeah, dude. I think I don't know how many people do it. I think everybody in the room would agree that how many times do you see like a really dope painted piece out there, and almost it seems like more often than not they're talking about vinyl wonder paints, and how great they are. And I honestly don't know a whole lot about vinyl, let alone the painting aspect of it. But I have talked to enough artists where I know kind of the struggles that they were having getting stuff from Japan, and
Yeah,
all the hazardous material and all the hoops you had to jump through to get it over here. So the fact that somebody in the States is doing it, man, what a bonus for us here, right? That it's finally something you can get locally, I guess, right?
absolutely. In a huge range of colors and metallics and pearls and fluorescence. And then they all mix and interact really well with one another. So it's just
Nice.
from an artist perspective, it has a lot of possibilities, and makes the experience like you can actually focus on it. I think more than having to actually dilute the paint to proper consistency. And to me, it's kind of like if you're a musician, you would kind of know how to tune your guitar without necessarily, or by plugging it, right? Like the
Sure.
harmonics of it. And so that's kind of what it is like it's good information to have. It's good to know how to do it, but to already have a full set of tools like perfectly diluted and ready to like use, like that makes getting right to painting a whole lot easier.
Oh man, I bet.
Makes it more fun, less of a chore.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, man. I was just gonna say, yeah, lots of less processes in that to actually start painting. And again, just talking to more artists, uh, that seems to come up. I know I've heard that probably more than a dozen times. Is trying to, and even trying to like color match stuff after you stopped, and if you're not using something that's already pre-mixed, it can be kind of a pain in the ass. But
Yeah.
um, your Sunny figure, that's the one Crumbs mentioned at the beginning of the show when he thinks Kachina Kachina, that's what he thinks of. I would probably say the same thing, man. I've seen so many of those, and so many that are painted by a ton of different artists. Um, how did that piece come about, man? It's unique, right? Like I've never seen any other figure that I could even resemble it exactly.
He's a little Kachina guy. He's a son Kachina, and he's got sort of like a flowery head to him, and that was more of like an engineering decision I made at the time. But his head kind of twists like a little puppy, and he's got, I think, like 4 or 5 points of articulation.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, yeah, he's a little Kachina doll, and so Kachina dolls are sort of magical spirit representations that come out of Hopi and Southwest tribes, and they describe them as our star brothers, or they told the native people that they were star brothers, and here's kind of how to live your life. And so I'm really into like Southwest lore and Southwest art, and so Kachina just seemed like a natural way to go for me.
Dude, I love that, man. I didn't know that. But gosh, dude, that's awesome, man. And also the Southwest style, dude, that's one that you don't hear about a lot, but it's definitely got its own style. Here's a quick story that has nothing to do with toys, but it does have something to do with the Southwest style. I knew a guy who was so into the Southwest style, man, and he had the bolo ties and everything. He was just like, you know, it was lots of turquoise. He dressed the part and everything. Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
This dude was 100% German. He was an IT guy for the last company that I worked for, and he was probably in his 60s or 70s. And then he would talk, and it's just very thick German accent, but he's decked out from head to toe in Southwest stuff, spends a lot of time in Arizona, New Mexico. It was it was neat. But that's a very interesting palette to work with. It's definitely unique.
Yeah.
I gotta bug you too. I'm so sorry, man, because is the head on that, is the face attached to a joint on the head? Because I was trying to make sense. I was trying to make sense of that earlier.
Yep. So here's the scene, and it's just sort of like the little half moon back there, and then it's kind of like a knob with a face.
Nice.
Right? Yeah.
What made you decide to go that way rather than having like a head sitting on the body, having the face sit onto that head buck?
I kind of just I thought when he turned his head like that, it's kind of more expressive, right? Like we're kind of like it could turn like that or two, but I just thought it added to kind of the cuteness.
Absolutely,
He's a happy dude. Sunshine.
That's a brilliant move, man. And, oh my.
Thank you.
And honestly, your molds for a couple of the other pieces are just ridiculous as well. I'm gonna sneak those up later.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Bootleg Toyco is asking in the chat if you have any Sunny blanks available.
Yeah, I could hit me up.
Hit him up. There you go. That's how you get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. But like Crumb said, the articulation on that is that's very cool, man. It's funny when you see something online and then you see somebody actually operating it, and it's almost like a whole different thing. All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Those are great. Dude, as far as the painting goes, like your painting, we've been gawking over that for 3 years now. The pieces that you choose to paint, like the elixir pieces, some of the other pieces that Crumbs and I were talking about, help me out there, Crumbs, that we were talking about last week or the week before.
The number 2 combo pieces.
Number 2 combo, yeah. I keep on wanting to say uppercut party, but that's the wrong one. Anyways, yeah. When you paint something like that, is there something that you're looking for specifically in a piece that you paint? I honestly think that like the pieces that you choose are great pieces on their own. Oh my God, dude, those are so fucking good. But then you add and it's just, I mean, it takes them over the top, dude. But is there anything that you like specifically when you're looking for a piece to do?
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth. It's like when they're textures, that's nice, and textures and details. I like toys with kind of deep recesses. Awesome, because you could do like a rub on it, and then all the in this case color like stays in those deep recesses. You know what I mean? But I also like the number 2 combo that had a lot of flat area on it. And so like I could get in there and add texture in a different way with the that weird sort of flamey texture and like the masking. And so yeah, I mean honestly a lot of the time, and like I'm a massive collector too, so it is sometimes I just like buy stuff and I'm just like I want to add that to my collection, and then I'll paint it up, and I've got like a lot of blanks that I just can't bring myself to paint. Yeah, thank you. I do a lot of commissions, and so this was actually a commission right here. I was at Buana's Gam Jam. That is his show he puts on here at Portland in October.
Yes.
And I had a couple of these guys for sale as a pair, and so somebody there saw them, and they got bought up in between the time that they had a chance to buy them, and so they came back to me and said, "Hey, like if I send you a couple blanks, will we paint them up?" And so this is how those turned out.
Those are great, dude. Slightly Adrift says Kachina does great commission paint work, and he said that those are commissions right there. What a great idea.
Thank you.
I'm gonna send you some pictures of some blanks, and your choice, man. Whichever one you want to grab and paint up. But those are some. God dang! Look at that.
Yeah, and the like
blacklight version.
And the little eyeballs that you're putting in them as well, man. Such a brilliant touch. Are those 3D printed and then casted? Like, where do you come up with that idea?
So I can't remember, we've been putting eyeballs in there for a long time. And so what I would do originally is try and cast them out of different colors of resin. And then I'd end up just getting like some acrylic doll eyes and then painting them up in different ways. Yeah, so those are some of the original casts I made. My casting success record with that mold wasn't very high though, so the acrylic ones ended up being a lot better.
Man,
beautiful results, man. Such a nice touch.
Thank you. Yeah, those turned out really good, and I don't paint a lot of black vinyl, and so this and the lava one we showed a minute ago are like some of the rare black vinyl I've painted.
Yeah, dude. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I don't have a whole lot of vinyl, but I think the only black vinyl that I have is one of those oversized bone ghosts from that damn
Deadbird Toys.
Yeah, Deadbird Toys, exactly, man. God dang it. That is sick right there, man. That one, dude, that one, it's got like that 1950s vibe to it, right? Only because, I mean, not only because, but it's the spacesuit for one, but that palette, God, dude, that is really good, man.
Yeah, classic. And this was the first release, the Captain D version of the Time Benders, and so yeah, this is the classic paint. And one thing I'm really like proud of with this sculpt is I don't know if you remember like the old film canisters where you have like the roll of film and the black canister, and how it would like feel when you put the lid on that and kind of like have that little vacuum feel. And I ended up engineering like the lip of the dome here to fit within that top part, and it kind of does that same thing as that same feel, kind of locks in, and you can take it off and put it on really easily. I wanted it to be a little more interactive than have to heat it up to get it on and off. And so there's I think a lot of playability and posability with this toy. I'm really stoked on how it turned out.
That's brilliant, man.
Yeah, I just put in a new order for these for glow in the dark round, so hopefully in a couple months I'll have those.
Oh, that'll be sick. Dude, the film canister snap and the little vacuum, that one, that's a little piece of nostalgia that's eventually going to go away, right? Because I mean, you ask a kid nowadays, you know, what anybody probably, you know, under 20 or 25 with a film canister, and they're like, "What the fuck's a film canister?" You know, and you got then you got to explain a camera, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, those are God, dude, those are really good. Now, you mentioned a little just a few minutes ago that you're a huge collector, dude. Let's talk about that. What is it that you're collecting? Vinyl, resin, a little bit of everything?
A little bit of everything except for a whole lot of vinyl, actually. But when I see resin pieces that I like, I'll grab those too.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff that just if I like it, and it ranges. Like, so I've got a pretty big collection of Buana spoons stuff, and
Nice.
so like I don't know if I'd call those guys monsters. They're all super cute, like they're little creatures,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
sure.
so but not necessarily like what makes a monster, like to me maybe like a fear factor, right?
Yeah.
And then also monsters, like I have a pretty decent Wonder Goblin collection. Of yeah, I like handful of toys from Japan, that like Real Head and Uamu and some Blob Puss and just you know everything that's cool.
Yeah,
So
exactly, dude. It's and I think that's kind of where I would say my collecting style is. Some of the stuff in there is for, artists that I like, or but what it comes down to for me is like, if it's cool, I fucking want it. You know what I mean? Like, if it looks cool, I don't care if
yeah,
it's vinyl, resin, or whatever it is, whatever it's made out of. If it looks cool, I want it. And by looking at my vinyl collection, that's absolutely how that one goes. Um, just because I think everything in there is stuff that I look at and I just go, fuck, that's cool. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And for me too, it's like, does it glow? Oh, I'm totally interested in that.
Yeah.
Right? Like almost no matter what it is it got a lot of like fluorescent colors? Is it bright? I love that. So it's not too hard to like get me to want to buy stuff. It's just a question of like how can I really commit? Like, do I have the funds at the time? Do I have the shelf space?
Yeah.
And I'm maybe there's a collectors that do really well with trading, but I'm not really one of those collectors. I'm a sort of hoardy collector.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, but if I bought it, I think I really like it. I'm not ready to just like I don't know what I'm going to trade it for.
Yeah.
So like I hold on to a lot of stuff. If I get it, it like sticks around.
Dude, I was gonna say, now, is that hard being a collector and an artist at the same time, man? I mean, for me, my mind would just be in so many different spots. I don't know how I would allocate money towards one or the other. Or do you just kind of rotate that portion? But as far as like production and stuff, man, like your supplies that you're buying paint, obviously, right? And then
Yeah.
the vinyls, of course. But as far as like ongoing production, is it mostly paint that you're doing? I mean, you're sending your vinyls away, obviously.
Yeah. So it is primarily paint and time, and then weird little stuff like, so I probably use just as much thinner as I do, excuse me, paint.
Yeah,
Um, and lots and lots of thinner, and then like stuff to do rubs with, and rubber gloves, and so it's like the logistical stuff, but
yeah,
primarily it's paint. And I it's kind of remarkable how far a couple ounces of paint will get me. And so like I like to sort of glaze on colors. I like to work with the base layer colors of vinyl a lot, so I rarely do a complete overpaint. And so it's more of like thinking about how one color with a light application will shift or look after the base color kind of comes through, and then working in like color ranges and trying to go that direction. So yeah, a lot of it is like sort of paint, but also upkeep. Like once you got the equipment, like it's I've had the same airbrush for years now, and it has needed one needle change, and I just
mm,
take really good care of it the whole time, right? So
yeah,
yeah. So and then a lot of the times too, it's like I'm, one thing I was doing for a while, and what I'll do sometimes is trade work for vinyl toys, right?
Hey,
So
there you
that's right, and so it's like, okay, I'll do a run and then keep one of them and reduce the cost, or do toy trade as
go.
far as like vinyl pieces for vinyl pieces, or people just, I'll work a lot with, like, somebody will send me a batch of toys, and then like Elixir, for example, he would send me, a chunk of toys, and then we'd work our way through them, just doing different runs.
Yeah, gotcha. Um, a couple of things. A couple people in the Von Fake Name, and then Eric Folkert says they've always been obsessed with glow in the dark, and that glow in the dark is the best. Isn't it though, man? I mean, like, and that was always something that seemed like it was always the one that was a little bit different. And I think that's one of the allures of the glow, besides the glow itself. But I like what you said there about really kind of try to incorporate the base color of a blank into the piece.
Yeah.
That's honestly why I buy some of the color blanks that I buy, because I'm hoping that once I do send them out, that people will really incorporate that. Donner Don't Care did a barely human skeleton for me, and it was a blank glow in the dark, and then she did it
Nice.
up like a candy skull, and it's so sick, dude, because of that base that comes through. And
Yeah.
like you said, considering what that light will do to the base color when you go on top of it. That's a great point, dude. Some of these ones that I have, dude, have you checked this out? Have you painted one of the 5.5 Enos from ETC?
No, not yet. I have one though.
Aren't those great?
Yeah, they're awesome. And I like the big Enos too, but like dropping it down into that action figure side is pretty brilliant. So I'm sure it helps shipping and production, as well as like it like kind of, I think what we're talking about with the glow also is that there's like this nostalgia zone, right? And so we're all used to holding that shape, and that shape is so familiar that it immediately like triggers a lot of those, like, I love this nostalgia feeling, right? Plus the quality of the figure is awesome, and the tiny little dome on there is so cool.
Dude, you nailed every point that I love about that piece, dude. The nostalgic, it feels really good, man. You know what I mean? And I think the first person that I talked to about that piece was Jevaho Creations out in Belgium. And he said, dude, this thing feels so good in your hand. And it's that nostalgic 5.5 feel. But it's not only that, it's vinyl, so it's a lighter weight, so that's interesting. The articulation on it is very cool, and it's a 5.5, but like a beefed up 5.5, right? And that's why I always liked the 5.5 as a kid, because it was different. It was bigger than Star Wars figures or something like that. So a He-Man piece, it was like, oh shit, now this is a fucking toy, right? That's the same that I get from those Enos ones, but they're even chunkier. And dude, the ones that I have that orange one, and then I got that kind of weird greenish, like pale greenish one, though, that's super sick too. And then the mixed part glows, but those are
I got a mixed part one.
Yeah, those are great, man. As far as painting goes, are you kind of self-taught on that? It's just something, I know you said that you were into models, and I've heard a lot of artists talk about doing model work and painting models, and that kind of led into whatever it is they're doing now.
Yeah, well, so yeah, my foundation was, I mean, that's weird. I don't even know, because this is way pre-internet, so I don't remember there being a lot of books on that, but maybe on the back of boxes, or the model boxes or kits or whatever, like the Tamiya is trying to sell their paint and do the models. So somewhere there was a guide in there, and just through like doing a lot of painting on those kits, developed like some pretty decent skills, which is kind of shocking to me. And it was a lot of like trying to replicate like uniforms and camouflage colors and stuff like that. So that kind of taught me masking and stuff like that. But I went to art school, and so like I actually learned all about like color and more of like an Albers, Joseph Albers. Are you familiar with that guy? He did a lot of like really, really specific color tests and paintings, and how does one color look next to another color, and how do they mix in your eye, so one color next to another color will shift it, and you can make that like easy transitions. Or how do you, like, the way I think about it is the interaction of colors, right? So how's the base color come to the top, and how do you push, like which way can you push a yellow, right? You can make it warmer, you could go toward greens or oranges, and so that type of thing. So yeah, so self-taught at the beginning, and then formally taught, and then you know, gotta figure out what you're really doing with fluorescent paints and how those mix. Like that didn't nobody taught me that in art school.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
That's cool though, man. That's you're right with the you know, just God, learning about how those colors work, man. And it kind of goes back, like you said, working with the base paint. But God, dude, there's probably a lot of work in there learning how those colors work, and then just kind of, and then how'd you get into the airbrushing portion of it?
Well, for me, it was really like started with painting tanks and airplane models, and then like immediately seeing like I guess in 2019 or 2018, seeing this work that Candy was doing, which was airbrushed, and other people. I can't remember exactly who I was looking at, but Candy really stood out, and all that was airbrushed. And immediately I was just like, I know how to do this, and I could do that. Like there was a level of like seeing myself in it, right? And so I was like, cool, like I'm, you know, like I have a job, I'm gonna go get an airbrush and a compressor and like pick this back up, right? So to me it was almost like if I had played music as a kid and going back and picking that instrument back up again. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, man, that you can just pick it back up again like that. That's that probably definitely curbs that learning aspect that a lot of people have to go through when they're just like, oh, I feel like maybe I want to try to airbrush something, and then you start seeing that process of how they work through it.
Yeah, and I think too, there's like a level of less of a difficulty and more of like maybe an intimidation, right? And so it's hard to kind of go like, I believe I could do this new skill, right, without having invested or having like have a airbrush to play around with, right? But like that's really what it is. Like airbrush is, I think, a remarkable, you know, tool to use. It's easy to use, and for me, there was like just learning some muscle memory, and then since then, I've just been trying to like focus on techniques. Like who else out there is airbrushing, right? Like people that make fishing lures, they airbrush, and like there are these random directions we can look at and get inspiration from.
That's a great point, dude. That's something that I had not thought about before, the fishing lures and whatnot. Dude, let's talk about this. Now, you were talking about a different type of style that you were using before, where it almost looks like it's textured. And gosh, dude, what is that I'm looking at? Is that paint, or is that really textured on there?
This is paint, and it's 2 or 3 different types of masks. And like I was talking about, like these are actual little flexible mats that I got from a fishing place where they sell supplies to paint lures up. And so I'm just kind of going with like a little reptilian vibe here. And like what I noticed is if you give yourself a knife, I like to do sort of like monochromatic, but not necessarily flat. So here we have a couple different shades of green, and then blocked a little bit out and gave myself a different background to work with, and then put that mask over it, and then did that a couple times, and you get just like a really nice gradated surface with super cool interacting like textures.
Dude, that's crazy, man. I honestly could not tell if that was textured or not. That's awesome, dude. Did you have a question, Crumbs?
Thank you.
I thought you said something.
Oh, I mainly just said brilliant. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant that you're stealing the fishing lure mass. The fact they're flexible. Is that's marble resin and then multiple layers of paint, or you also painted the marble in there as well.
So that I think was started as yellow vinyl.
oh wow.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, like I think that was one of these guys. So then I probably was using green and blue on top of it, and you do like a light color of blue on this, and it's going to shift green. So if that was under the black light, we would have been able to see like a different sort of color, range out of it.
If I may too, we've talked a lot about the painting styles that you have, but at the same time, when you mentioned that you were doing like model kits of the kit, I would say some of your earlier resin work really displays that as well. These guys are insane, dude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so that's a different character in the Time Bender line. And so what I did with these guys is tried to make sort of like a body chassis that I could add to. And so I'd make a different head and a different set of arms and a little different backpack on there. And this guy actually has like a little chest plate that fit on. So yeah, lots of pulling resin.
Look at Crumbs digging 250 weeks ago on
Well, 'cause
that
these
one.
Yeah,
Gorgeous,
all
man.
the way back.
And look at this freaking insane mold work. Sorry, like look at these
Oh,
freaking
man.
thumbtacks sitting on top of keys with this stupid freaking log between the hands. Brilliant, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
thank you. Desperation.
Hey
I'm
man,
just like, oh God.
is that something you came up with, or is that something that you learned from somebody? That's wild right there, dude. I've never seen, besides the Legos and the silicone. That's dude. Look at the nuts in there for the articulate.
That's what I'm
Little joint.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Like this is the kind of shit that when I'm looking back and I'm like, okay, this is why Wonder Goblin and those guys are watching your page from right from the get-go. They're like, who the hell is this guy busting out some interesting, cool shit?
Well, and I think what else it is about that, and I was looking at Wonder Goblin's work early on, and with a lot of the people I was looking at, and also Skinner being one of them, like it was just seemed to be like either a weird lull or right before everything kind of seemed to super take off. And so it was before COVID. It could have been 2018, something like that. But like I was just reaching out to them and talking to them from a point of view of like artist to artist, kind of wondering what they're doing, seeking information from people, and just like trying to figure out how to actually paint vinyl from people that I admired. And they all responded back in like a really nice, friendly way. And so it's just, I got to kind of luckily develop a relationship with these people.
Nice, man. Going back to your collection, is there people that you specifically try to collect, or is it just kind of like what we were talking about? If it's cool, you want it as far as a collector goes.
There are people that I'm specifically looking at all the time. So Wonder Goblin's definitely on the list. Buana's always on the list. So I've got a decent elixir collection, but that's also through working with them and negotiating. I really love Ophelia toys.
Oh, dude, check this out. I just got this. I wasn't gonna show it this week, but I fucking might as well.
Oh yeah.
That Keldor. This is one of the ones that he popped the light in. Bro, like straight up, this dude has been to my house 3 times today, and I'm about to go rip this dude's face off because he keeps ringing my damn doorbell. Anyways, this Keldor right
here. You should just get some watchtowers.
Yeah, it is.
Watchtower magazine.
Yeah, right. Oh God. Yeah, leave it in the screen, buddy, like you always do. But these are great, man. You plug them in, and they light up. And there's no paint on that whatsoever, dude. That is just
Yeah, vinyl marble.
that's just that vinyl marble. Yeah, those are super sick though. But yeah, Ophelia's great, dude. He's another guy who does some really really cool paint, dude. I love his style and his palette that he uses. It's one of those ones that it's like it's hard to not recognize one of those pieces when you see the colors. And then some of the pieces that he uses too, man. But they're great, dude. I love that dude's work. I have a lot of it. It's very cool. The other one that I noticed saw was Topher Toy. Dude, Topher Toy, man, that dude, the gloss that he puts on his stuff is just like, it is so damn nice, dude. It is super, super cool.
Yeah, everything comes out looking like candy. And both of them, I feel, have like a really noticeable paint style. Like Ophelia has always been right in that dense, bright, fluorescent color range that I totally love. And Topher was there too, just sort of shifted into these color shifting iridescent metallic paints lately on his 3D work.
Yeah,
man, that is so awesome what's going on there. Like amazing. And I played around with some of the 3D sort of color shifting pigments before, and they're tricky to get right, and he just nails it every time. I just really love what he produces.
Yeah, dude, the stuff that he does, I don't know if you saw he painted up some 3.75 figures from Outer Spacemen, and he put like that blood splat on them, and it just completely changes kind of the whole feeling that you get from those things. You have the angel, I can't remember the name of the character, but the wings and everything, and then you see him with like blood all over it. They're so sick, dude. But that was a killer choice for the show, man. To get him in there, that's a good one. And he does a lot of collabs. I see he's another guy that paints a lot of other people's stuff. I saw that he's starting to 3D print his own stuff now, and make his own characters, and those seem to be selling really quick, man. Every time I see those, and you go on his site, those things seem to be gone like right away. The 3D sculpting, man, it seems like I'm into that. Is that something that interests you, or something that you do at all?
It absolutely interests me, and I've been thinking about it for years, and kind of hold off. Like I'm always scared it's just going to be another rabbit hole, and then I'm going to be stuck doing like technical things instead of making art. But there's also, like, I did borrow a 3D printer for a little bit, and being able to like take a sculpt and do prototypes with it is invaluable, right? And so in one degree, it makes total sense. And the resin printers these days are absolutely amazing. Like, I've printed up some 3D resin prints, and they're incredible, the resolution that comes off there. So, and what we're looking at right now, this is a Nomad sculpt of Captain D. And I guess this was an earlier one, so his proportions are like a little more action figure-y. And that wasn't so great for Sofubi Productions, so I squished him. And he's got some like stockier sort of He-Man vibe proportions to him, I think.
Very nice, man. But now, how about that? So that's a great looking figure in vinyl. Have you thought about making it in resin at all?
Well, there was the original throwback resin one, but like I've done a couple of prototype prints, and there's the OG resin one with the double cast head.
Wow, that's old.
And of the newer one, I did some prints as prototypes, but like beyond that, I really haven't thought of doing any resin casting on them.
Yeah, well, I think the vinyl, man, the vinyl looks freaking great. That's a super killer piece. So what's next for you coming up, man? Or how do you even work that? So you've got this show coming up tomorrow, and then I'm sure you're probably already onto another project, I would think, right?
Yeah. So technically, I have a pretty big list of custom jobs I need to get to, and so every day I'm painting on those. Like at the end of the year, and it kind of like it depends how you count it. Like there were over 60 projects I needed to do, but one of those projects would have like it'd be one client with a set of 10 different toys that need to go out,
Oh, wow.
or here's one individual that needs like 3, and so they're not 100% customs. It's not really the way I'd look at it, right? I mean, I'm not treating it as a one-on-one and really like decorating something up specifically or like sculpting something up for it specifically, but more just like a paint run, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, there'd be like paint run of like 5 pieces here, 5 pieces there, and so it ended up being like 60 some odd pieces. So now I'm kind of more into, I think when I look at my list, like sort of one-on-one customs, and so focus on those a lot. I've got a show for ETC coming up that is the Buddha head tour, Buddha, right? So that vinyl is, we're going to have a show with that pretty soon. I got some ideas for that. And so, yeah, that's it. And then at the same point, always playing around with Nomad Sculpt. I've got a couple different projects on the horizon that I want to try and sculpt out, but don't want to rush them, right? So I generally go through a few iterations before I start feeling like something is in the direction that I want it. But yeah, so that's kind of it.
Yeah. We had a question on the show for a giveaway either last week or a couple weeks ago, but it was just kind of getting everybody's thoughts on kind of some of the frustrations that you come across as far as producing stuff. A lot of people said time. That was a big one. A lot of people said marketing. That was another big one. What is it for you, man, that you think is probably the biggest sticking point when it comes to just the whole thing in general, whether it's sales or time or product availability? What is it for you that is challenging at the moment?
That's interesting. Like,
the fact that you have to think about it is very good, I think.
It is. Like, for me, there are not a lot of frustrations, and I'm really lucky that a lot of people actually want to work with me, and I've got like kind of like, I don't like a bit of a backlog of vinyl on the table to paint. And so to me, that also means like this has already been produced, right? Like with the tariffs and the scare of like what the heck is going to happen here with our relationships overseas, like that was looking like an opportunity to kind of like shift, right? Question, am I gonna? So there's that level of uncertainty, and there's also the level of like when the economy fluctuates, right? People just are a little bit tighter with their money, and sales are a little bit harder, even if you have cool stuff. And as a collector, like I feel that from the whole other side, right? Like I'm buying fewer toys, and kind of there's not the huge consistent flood that there was, right? And so it kind of goes from both sides. And so really it's like, I mean, I can be patient. I've worked in other places where I understand like what it's like to manufacture product.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. And to me, it's a process, and it's an interactive process of working with the company, right? Or the less you want to work with the company, the more stuff's going to cost, and the more it might like not work out, right? I want things to work out, and I want my investment to be worthwhile, right? So like making changes to stuff for me is all like super normal part of the day. Like at the end, it's going to be better, right? Like that's my attitude. So
yeah, definitely. Wow, man, that's a and so before you, gosh, dude, so you got into this like right around what, 2020, 2019?
yeah, I'd say really like into it in 2019.
2019. What do you think the biggest change that you've seen from 2019 up till today? We were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and I think what I came to is, I don't know, man. It seems to me like when 3D printing first came out, there was a little bit of a stigma of, I don't want to say that's not okay, but it felt like it. There was a lot of people saying that that's somewhat of a shortcut. And then when you really start breaking it down and seeing how people are sculpting those, you're like, well, shit, man, that's really a whole art in its own. Learning how to
Yeah.
do something, especially when you take somebody like Bootleg Toyco, who is self-taught, and he does a hell of a good job. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
the amount of time that must have gone into that of just saying, I think I want to do Nomad, and then just getting it and then acing it is crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it takes some dedication and focus, right? But
Sure.
to me, I think is right around that time, just like you were saying, there was more of an emphasis on hand sculpts, and I could see it, like some people had complaints or what they felt made 3D renders kind of maybe a little stiff, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like the perfect symmetry that also doesn't have the same type of life as a hand sculpt does.
Mm.
But like I'm a huge fan of the perfect symmetry. I like both, right? And so to me, I think in between, like I don't know when it got released, but like in 2019, if you really wanted to do like 3D work, you'd have to be in like Blender or like one of the more professional applications. And then all of a sudden, Nomad seemed to be like a workable tool. Now all of a sudden, it's like essentially like Procreate, right? If you have a decent enough iPad that'll push the application, then you're sculpting badass stuff in 3D that can be manufactured, right? And so that's how this time bender, the vinyl one, got produced through a Nomad sculpt. And
Oh wow.
um, yeah, and I basically did the same thing. And to me, it like the Sunny was a hand sculpt,
Mm.
and I had to do 2 or 3 different versions of that. It took a really long time. Not that I was necessarily looking for shortcuts, but I feel like maybe my own attitude about sculpting with like an actual 3D material um, held me back a little bit from the way I have like a little bit more of a comfort achieving what I want to get through Nomad. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. Like if if we start introducing more asymmetry into the models, I think it makes it feel a little bit fresher and a little bit more like a hand sculpt.
Yeah, and that's something else we were talking about, kind of hand sculpting versus 3D sculpting. And again, a lot of what people liked about the 3D aspect was kind of the versatility and the time that you can do. It seems like a lot of people have, actually, it doesn't seem like it. It's a fact that everybody else, everybody who's doing this always has something else going on, whether it's a family or another job or another project or whatever it is. So to
Oh
be
yeah,
able to sit down in front of a actual hand sculpt and sit there and hand sculpt and then make a mistake and have to correct that mistake, and just the time that you dedicate to that versus sitting down at an iPad or your computer and kind of doing it in a faster way. That
undo. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly, man. That seemed to be like a turn on for a lot of people, as far as that. And then, of course, like you said, the technology that gets better and better. I remember when I first started seeing those, and I don't know what it is, man. Maybe that was technology at the time. Maybe it's a low grade printer, but we can really see the lines, and all this stuff. And then some of them, we were talking about Plastic Bond at the beginning of the show, but you look at his stuff, and it looks more of like a thumbprint, and you really have to hold it up in the light to even see that. Besides that,
yeah,
it is just like a super pristine piece. And so
yeah.
the contrast between the two is like night and day difference, man. You're like, holy crap, did we really come that far in 5 years? Or maybe that's just different quality. I don't know. But where that whole thing is going is nuts, man. I think more and more people are kind of catching on to that or exploring that as a way to sculpt. I don't want to say on the fly because there's a lot of time and research involved in that stuff, but a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I guess hand sculpts are great though too, man. I mean, I'm sure you know a shitload of them, and the hand sculpts are always. I mean, damn, dude. Anytime that you can take a hunk of nothing, carve it into something, and then mold it, cast it, or send it off to a vinyl maker, whatever it is. I mean, that's like the trifecta for me. That's seriously taking nothing and turning it into something. I guess you could say the same thing for 3D sculpting as well, though. So
Yeah. Well, it feels like a different thing for sure, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Like if
for
you're
sure.
actually standing, and that like that's what I would try and get to all the time is like when I was a little kid, or when we were in third grade or whatever, and somebody put a thing in clay in front of us. We didn't overthink it at all. We were like, I'm mashing the shape, and then you're like, damn, it looks like a hippopotamus. I'm jabbing some eyes in there, and it's a hippo now, right? And we
Right.
felt good about it. There wasn't any hesitation about it, and it's like it's hard to actually get into that headspace where it doesn't matter, especially when we're so pressed for time in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But especially like you said too, like when you make a mistake, either when you're doing a real painting or you're inking something or sculpting something, a lot of the art form is how do you dig yourself out of that mistake, right? How do you continue on and have it be back to where your intentionality was? So
Right.
there's different levels of the skills.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Zimico says it's the best to sculpt something in Nomad, print it the next day, and paint it the next day. I'm all about the quick gratification. And that dude's account, if you see that, I mean, that is, I think it's
Oh
that
yeah,
recipe on repeat uh, every day of the week is what it seems like,
yeah,
because the amount of
yeah.
product that's coming out of there is nuts.
Yeah, I've got some nice pieces from them too.
They're great, right? And I mean, they're so, and not only are they so consistent, my biggest problem is picking what I want. And I've talked to them about this before. Is you go in the store and there's so much in there, you end up putting everything in your cart, and then you look at the total and you're like, oh my God, I cannot pay that. And then you start trying to take some of the stuff off and you're like, oh, and then the next day here
You're
comes
like,
a round of new cool shit. And you're like, but what a
yeah,
great person to have though, man. I mean, uh, yeah, his level of,
and some really cool experimenting that he's done too. And the
yeah,
last thing I got was sort of like one of those comb, has a bunch of like little teeth coming up, and then it's got the gorilla head that was debossed out of it. It was like pulled out of it. So when you look at it from the front, you get this like really super cool 3D
yeah.
freckly ghost image. Oh man.
Yeah, funky, man. It's their tables at shows are they're so damn cool. I mean, I know you've seen, man. You walk by me, you're just like, holy crap, that's a lot of product, dude.
Yeah.
And then you realize they flew across the country with that. You're like, oh my God, how did you do that? But yeah, very cool, man. That's the production end is it's just nonstop, dude. And I think that's another benefit to the 3D aspect is that stuff is once it's going, it's just, I mean, we've talked to a few people who have multiple printers and they set the printers and I mean, they can run all day. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so the show tomorrow, man. No, let's back up real quick because did you say that you were going to be doing an IG live?
No, it's just at I'm looking at 10 a.m. PST, and so that'd be one on the East Coast and 11, 11, 12, 12. So it'd be one on the East Coast.
Yep.
And so yeah, everybody's gonna post at the same time, and then through the hashtag Timebender Group Show, everybody will be able to see like the array of pieces that have been put up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I met you at Decon last year.
Yeah.
Did you have a table there, or you were just you
No,
didn't have a table there?
I was walking around buying stuff.
Yeah. Like every good patron should do, right? That's the best.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your take
Shopping.
on, I was watching something. General Porpoise had sent me a video of a couple other people who run shows, and they were kind of talking about conventions in general. And there was different takes on them, of course. As far now, I know Gam Jam's a little bit of a smaller show.
Yeah.
What experience do you have with shows and setting up tables? And is that something that interests you at all? I personally like going more as a fan. I can't see being in that environment and being tied to a table. That would be absolutely brutal. To not just want to close things up and walk around. But what's your take on shows, man? I know some people love them, other people can't stand them.
So I did really enjoy Gam Jam. I've done that for a couple of years. I haven't done really any other toy shows other than being an attendee. I apparently missed like the sign up for Decon this year, so I wanted to vend there. I'm on the waiting list, so maybe I'll be there vending. But it's like I know I can fill up a table. I've got enough blanks and enough stuff, enough my own toys, and like could partner with somebody to like fill up a nice selection of toys. I don't know if from Decon I could really make my money back after traveling and everything. And so there's that element of it. But really, primary thing, like you said, would be kind of to have like a spot to, if somebody wanted to hit me up, go, like I'd be somewhere, like meet people, like, and have like a different level of presence. So again, if I went to Decon, it would be more to like make connections and hang out and then see if anybody wanted anything, more than the expectation that I'd make my money back. But you never know, right?
But you never know, man. And you know what? I think that approach to it, after everybody that I've talked to, that should probably be the approach going in, is that you kind of have to get over the fact that you may not make your money back, especially at a show like Decon where the booths are at a premium.
Yeah.
And then you start
Yeah.
breaking down and start doing the math, and you're saying, well, to get my money back. And it's not only the table, right? It's the travel, it's the plane, it's the room, it's the food, it's whatever you do out there. And so there's got to be some give and take, I think, with some understanding that, hey, there's a good chance I may not make all my money back, especially if I take what I'm making and then go buy something else at the show.
Exactly.
You know
That's
what I mean?
I was going to say. Oh, yeah. It would almost be like being an attendee that has a booth as well, right? So,
Exactly.
like I'm going mega attendee style.
You know what I would be doing if I was an artist? I'd be taking all my stuff and just trying to go and trade it with people and say, hey, man, you guys want to trade this? No one's bought this yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right, man. That's it's kind of more of an event than anything. There's the promotion side of it where you're kind of networking, like you said, and getting your name out there, and meeting the artist, man. I think that's a big part of it too. Is not only, and like I said, man, I don't know if you do this as a collector too, but some people, the piece that they make, maybe I'm not really into the piece, but I really like the person. You know what I mean? Like they're just a solid person. They're a supporter of the show. We've chatted or something like that. And maybe I don't really dig the piece 100%, but like if it's 20, 30, $40, like I definitely want to try to support them. Do you see your collection leaning that way at any points?
Just as far as like artist support, you mean?
Yeah, exactly. Just I like we both agree that cool is cool. You know what I mean? If you saw something that maybe wasn't cool, but it was from an artist, that you like, or someone to support, I know for me that I've made a bunch of purchases like that just to make the support and kind of keep the thing going.
Yeah, and to me, I think it's more of a fact of saying that even if I'm feeling a little tight, like I'll still jump on a release from an artist I really like, because I do feel like there's a level of support in there. And so, even though he doesn't necessarily need my support, I feel that way with Guano. Like almost everything he releases is great, and I really feel good about giving him my money too. And so like he's a super decent guy and has had a lot of conversations with me in the past about toy production and just the reality of the scene. And so like he's a great dude, it's just kind of my friends, right? Like Wonder Goblin, I love to buy his toys, and nothing ever really sucks, right? So it's all just like adding great stuff to my collection. So I guess that's the beauty of it, right? Like the people I really like to support also are mega talented artists, so they just there's not any losing there.
Exactly, dude. That well said, man. And I think that's one of the greatest things about conventions and stuff, no matter what size that they are, is that you do have that interaction with the artist, because you can get kind of up close with them, um, and support them at the same time, or just look at their stuff and chat with them, and whatever's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like face to face, right? Because we do so much of everything like through an app, right? And so you get to know people's personalities, but being in their space and actually having a real time conversation is a little bit of the pinnacle of the experience, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely the way I feel, right? Like you actually get to meet your friends, so that's awesome.
And dude, I think for me, not being an artist and only being a collector, that's one thing that always, it still seems a little bit surreal to me, even though I talk to a lot of these people on a regular basis on Instagram, and so each other. But then seeing them in person it's a whole different thing, man. You know what I mean? Like it's there's that connection there. And then that makes the online experience even better. And then it just kind of turned into friends, as well as people that you'd like to collect. And I think that's one of the really cool things about this community is how many times can you collect something at home and then that you really like or into, but then can just go find a convention where the artist may be, go to that convention, talk to them, shake their hand. And it's, there's not a lot of things out there that you can do that with, but this is definitely one of them. That being said, dude, so we'll close it with this, unless you had anything else, Crumbs. But we talked about frustrating things in the scene. What's the one thing that you absolutely love about this scene, man? That makes you keep wanting to do what you're doing?
To me, it's the exposure of so many people that are excited to create, and they're creating like really unique things, and they're really unique, odd things, right? So there's a lot of imagination at play. And also, what I find too is a lot of the times as artists, even though we might have like a completely different job, we're pretty sensitive individuals. And so I think a lot of people in this community are easy to get along with and like actually decent human beings and just extremely creative, right? And when I feel like you're in that level of creative environment, there's a lot of inspiration that goes on. And so it's just, it's nice to be in a place with people that have like the same sort of proclivities and outlooks and approaches. And everybody excited for one another usually. So that's what I love.
Dude, I think that somebody should probably take that last 2 minutes of what you just said, bottle that up, and sell that shit, because that right there is what it's all about, dude. You know what I mean? Like
it is.
It is so much, and dude, it's, I don't want to like get all cliche and shit with, it's a breath of fresh air, but to hear it coming from an artist, a super, super talented artist like yourself,
thank you.
Pete, kind of what the fans are wanting to, that's another thing, dude. Like you can't go to many places and have people say, what do you like about this? And people genuinely say, oh, it's about the fans and meeting the people one-on-one and talking to them. Like athletes can't say that, right? You would never hear an athlete say that. You would never hear somebody in Hollywood say that, because that's not what it's about for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this thing, that is what it's about. It's not what it's all about, but it's a damn big part of it. What did you have there, Crumsy?
Oh, before you go, I got to see that Tuscarian, dude. It's sitting right beside you. It looks fucking huge. It looks like it can hold one of your.
Yeah. So size comparison.
Shit, dude.
Yo, that's a sick paint up on the.
I'm pretty sure he's in my shop. So if anybody gets bold, and also, this is not in my shop, but one of my favorite pieces is I took a classic space squatch and made a Kachina out of him.
Dude,
and he's got like leather and fur and feathers and the whole like super tight paint job on there. So Yeah, fun stuff. But yeah, I've got I think a couple tusks and maybe like I got this fungusting too. So if
Nice.
anybody's not able to grab anything from the show tomorrow, I got some other stuff in my shop. That's cool.
And plug that show one more time as well before we kick you out of here.
Okay, and it's going to be the Time Bender Group Show tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific. Check out the hashtag Time Bender Group Show, and there will be 10 different customs of the Time Bender up. This is not one of them, but this is the toy.
Dude,
So yeah, check it out.
that blue and gold is something else, dude. Holy shit, man.
Right.
That got fucking.
It's
Woo!
it's like got the Pharaoh vibe.
Oh my god, dude.
And there's like a sparkle to the blue.
Dude, and the
Yeah, it's a little
too, man. That was a great idea to do the inside of the helmet like that.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. God dang it, man. God, dude, I thought I had another question, and I probably don't, man. Thank you for being on, dude. That
Thank you for having me so much.
no, absolutely, man. It was a blast.
Brilliant.
You are welcome back anytime, dude. I apologize. It took so damn long to have you on, but what a fucking awesome perspective on just the whole thing, man. I appreciate your time, man. Seriously.
Cool. Thank you. And ditto. I really enjoy speaking with both you guys. So hopefully we'll do it again soon. We'll check out how the show goes tomorrow. I really appreciate it.
For sure. You got it. Make sure everybody checks that out tomorrow morning on Instagram. Watch out for the drops. It's going to be 10 artists, 11 including yourself, I think.
Yep.
There is some dope shit. Just real quick, here's what I was going to say. The Kachina doll that you made, I don't know if you've seen, if you go back in Strafe 7's feed and seen some of the ones that he's made, they are fucking primo, dude. I think it's some of his best work that he's ever done. And they're older, and it goes back to a connection with him and his grandmother, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there is some super, super sick Kachina stuff on there that looks, when you held that up, I actually thought that's what that was. I was like, oh shit, he's got one. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, but they're smaller. I want to say they were like dunnies or something that he turned into them.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, he completely changed them, dude. They're super sick. So scroll way back on his feed and check those out.
I'll definitely check those out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Thanks for being on, dude. I appreciate it again. Oh, look at you. Look at you. You cut him off, and then you're on mute the whole time, and I can't even hear you. Got you. Dude, we got so far. We were 23 minutes away from a perfect, you're not on mute, and here we go. I know.
If anything, I was just making fun of myself for the fact that I didn't realize I was like striking a pose as I booted him out. All of a sudden, I'm standing here like I'm some kind of fucking
no. Then you're
hero
talking,
or
and no
some
one can
shit.
hear you. It's like
Exactly.
There you go,
Fuck's sake,
dude. And dude, I'm damn serious when I say that it sounds good or it feels good to hear an artist say that. You know, that last few minutes that he was speaking there, dude. I think that says a lot about kind of his perspective into the scene. But
last few and first few,
one of those unique things, man.
I would say beginning and end. Their comment about what kind of got them into this even kind of set that tone, you know. And then they kind of dive into the Kachinas, and you're kind of like, again, it all kind of came together real nicely, man. The time bender thing, actually, I'll admit too, it kind of caught me off guard as you're digging, because of course we see the figure, we see it's gonna be the time bender group show. You're seeing the hashtag for Captain D, and you're trying to kind of like piece things together as you're like, because let's be honest, there's times some of the homies in the scene will like make a toy and you're kind of like, I don't know, is that from a program? Is that from a comic? Is that from, so you start kind of digging a little bit. And there's one of those ones where you're digging and it's like, oh, you're a painting of yours. Oh, from an OG resin toy, from an OG painting of it. And you start kind of going down and you're like, oh, neat. Okay, yeah. And so you start kind of seeing like the world being built there and the different characters that are involved. And then when you see it, what I always find neat, man, is because, and I've talked to the homies about this too, like you'll see like something like Soma, right? Soma's got like their Sonic Rangers, and Pope Toys and I were talking about this one day. And there's like a 10-inch Sonic Soma Ranger. And then they've got the 3.75 Sonic Soma Rangers. Then they've got the little Keshi Sonic, and it's kind of like, yeah, we've got the resin version of the Captain D, and then you've got the vinyl, and you've got and you start kind of seeing how an idea kind of expands and evolves and kind of grows until it becomes a mass produced now vinyl.
Yeah, and I think the different versions of that, dude, I think are, going back to ETC when he took the large General Enos and then shrunk it down to the 5.5 was fucking brilliant, I think. A lot of Eddie's stuff, dude. A lot of his vinyl pieces, come from resin pieces. And then you get the different scales in there too, man. And it's just, it almost seems like a never ending thing, especially when it's a really cool toy just to begin with. And you're like, I want that every way it could possibly be made. Whatever variation in color that they have. But yeah, dude, it was Eric Folkart's Pedals says spectacular perspective. I agree, man. That's one of the most refreshing ones that I've heard. And I know a lot of people feel that same way, and maybe they're just not vocal about it. But I think exactly what he said there is one of the things that's unique about this scene. Is I think there is a genuine like of the artist to interact with the fans. You know what I mean? And that's something that you just don't see. I think in a lot of professions or hobbies or fields, when you go and you see the people at the top of the field, and the people at the top of the field have to interact with the people that are just fans of whatever they're doing. I think that fan interaction part is seen as something extra that they have to do. Like, well, that's part of being whoever I am. I have to go and interact with these people. And I don't think it's like that for a lot of these guys. I think it's, they want to be there. You know what I mean? And like he said, he knows going in that, yeah, he may not make all his money back on a table, but that's not all that it means to him. We've been talking about promotion. I've been talking with a few different people over the last couple of weeks about promotion in general. And I think that's where a lot of it can make or break you, is as far as your perspective going in is, if your perspective is this thing's going to be a fail if I don't make my money back, well, probably bad news for you, and not a shocker that you're going to have a lot of bad days, man, if it's coming down to making your money back, so there's other perspectives that start to stick out,
Even when you look at the people that they surround themselves with, again, you kind of it's like a resume, as weird as it is. Like their social networking footprints are kind of like a resume at this point. You don't want to work with somebody who only works with assholes. But when you see this dude who's been working and is now throwing a show with people like ETC, fucking Wonder Goblin, Maggitarius, lovely, kind, good-hearted people, not people pretending to be nice, good-hearted people, you kind of start realizing, like, well, yeah, they surround themselves, they involve, they interact. Even, and I noticed this sometimes, this isn't a commentary on anybody at all whatsoever. Everybody has their own little fans in the corner. It's interesting to me when you start even kind of seeing, like, Akashiki Records was in here tonight, and they come and go sometimes. But again, we know that they've got quite the history in the vinyl scene of making things, painting things. For them to show up on a show with them tonight, it's kind of like, yeah, that's one of your homies. When you see Elixir Toy pop in, you're like, that's one of your homies. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell this person kind of involved. Strafe 7. It's like, yeah, this person, they surround themselves, it seems, with people that kind of share their perspective as well. And what's beautiful about that is that then it creates almost this kind of like humbling effect, because the reality is that realistically, unfortunately, when you're like famous or anything like that, involving with other people, I can't decide your truth. I can't alter the power perception that you perceive of me. And at some point, the more I run my mouth, I'm likely to accidentally fuck up and say something that you don't like. And the more people I talk to, the greater chance at some point that I'm always running my mouth, I'm going to say something somebody doesn't like, right? So again, like, you can't fake this shit. You kind of have to be a good person. That's kind of where this person, you can kind of tell. You can see the resume. You're just kind of like, oh shit, yeah, okay. Follow the footprints. The resume looks good, dude.
What's interesting, man, is I heard something on Instagram of all places the other day. And it was one of those voiceover things of somebody talking and giving some sort of wisdom. And those things are cool, man. Like once you hear one, whether you like it or not, your feed is flooded with them. And I heard a really good one the other day. It made me think. It was saying that if you think about it, there's thousands of versions of you out there that people know of, whether they had one interaction with you or multiple interactions, and then they base thought of you on that interaction. And Kachina seems like one of those dudes where he doesn't have bad interactions with people at all, man. He's such a good-hearted dude. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just what you said, dude. The people that he does the work with, they're great people, dude. And that's another cool thing about this whole thing is there is so many people that are just like him.
You said something about the interactions there, and all I could think in my head is like, the one I'm thinking of, dude. And honestly, I just sit with that one for a couple of days thinking to myself where it was just like, it's a situation where you can't really say much beyond, well, that person's entitled to their situation, like to their truth. I can't deny them their truth. Power of perception. I gotta just move along, you know?
It is. It's a sobering thing to just say, well, that's the version of me that they know. Sometimes that's great. Sometimes it's unfortunate, but it's just, it is what it is. And I think, that kind of makes you think about how you interact with people going forward and how you leave them. If you're not going to talk to that person again, and it is maybe a one-time interaction, what do you want that version of yourself to be that they remember?
But when we know better, we do better. That's how you grow. Giving a shit about growing is important too, man. Yeah. We were having that conversation the other day, and admittedly, there's this one buddy way back. I remember sitting down there, they're asking, you're like, how come A, B, C, and then you're like, well, I don't want to be a dick, but I'm your best friend. I'm going to kind of let you know, man. Maybe if this is what you're seeing, it's because of these behaviors. Well, fuck them, man. I'm doing me. If they don't like it, fuck them. You're like, well, then don't ask.
This has been Deep Thoughts with Toys Alive. Join us next week where we tackle
right. It's almost like we need the just the foggy smoke behind both of us the whole freaking time.
Yeah. But anyways, man, great guest. It's a shame that we haven't had him on sooner. Great perspective, I think, on just kind of the whole thing. And again, man, I think that's one of the, one of the cool things is that.
I mean, obviously,
yeah.
We're not going to look at tabs really tonight beyond Kachina Kachina, and we're probably not going to do any unboxings. But you've seen this stuff? Like this is where dude's just all over the place with his abilities.
Dude, you did some digging, my man. 281 weeks ago.
Good artist, dude. The more you scroll down their feed, the more they're just kind of like, fuck, dude. There was so much gold in their page. Anybody, honestly, if you get a moment, take 15 minutes. It's all it really takes. Scroll their page, hop into their store. There's so much gold.
You know what's funny, dude, is something that he mentioned is how all these little bits of inspiration come up, dude. And sometimes I just take mental notes and go, oh, wow, God, I never thought of that one, dude. Fishing lures, right? I didn't think about that. But now that I do think about it, I believe Scott Cherry, Barbarian Rage, was also in the lure painting business at one point. Also, somebody in the chat when we were talking about DNS, what up, dude? Damn it, I lost it. Oh, somebody in the chat was talking about, I thought they said hunting gear, or guys that are painting hunting gear
and
overlays and stuff. That's another one that I never thought about. And he said that they had got some inspiration from that field as well. But it's just another one, man, that it's, I never thought about.
One of their posts I thought was brilliant. They were using a 2-part silicone for masking. And it was just so brilliant because they literally had made almost like a little squish mold around the feet of the character. And then you think about how silicone, you're like, holy shit, dude, it snaps right into place. It's molded to the exact lines where you don't want to hit it with any paint. What the, that's this dude's brain is just working on next level. That's why I'd even pull up that mold at one point where I'm looking at it being like, you are one of those engineer arty dudes. You know how there's artsy dudes who also made A-bombs, and then there's artsy dudes who also happened to it's that kind of thing. You're kind of wow, yeah, you've got an engineer brain with the arts brain. Yeah, I don't know. I liked that was Kachina Kachina's.
Yeah,
but I have a whole new outlook on their work, man. In general, mind blown.
Yeah, straight up. Eric Volkart says his buddy forms plastics around knives to make sheaths, then masks them 3 or 4 times. That's dope, dude.
There you go.
that's another thing that Strafe 7 is really into, and he works with knife makers as well. Yeah. Yeah, that mold was cool as fuck. That's what dude, good point, Dre. That's how about that mold? Was that fucking wild or what, man? I've never seen anything like that. I can't believe you scoped out the thumbtacks at the top of that, dude, to hold it in place. Holy shit.
At first I thought he had casted screws, and I'm like, no, that's too far.
Yeah. No, that's super cool, man. And his work, dude, his body of work is just stupid, dude. Oh my god. Very cool. Anyways, that was a fun guess, man. That was super cool.
That was a blast of a guess, man. Next week we are doing the GI show, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Fun. Look at this list of freaking folks on there. Actually, yeah, they have started actually listing the artists that are going to be a part of it. Oh, Eric Folkart's project.
There it is. Bam.
Hey, what up? I know it's so silly, man, but I do get excited seeing the homies that we see weekly and reading through and being like, oh,
dude, look at it. I'm just looking at this list. Look at all of them that are in there, dude. Like, look, I mean, they're all there pretty much. You know, there's not many that aren't there.
If DNS isn't on assignment, they did agree that they were going to come in and kind of be our GI Joe experts. So that way, we always need to have a little bit of a GI Joe show expert, because that first time we ended up spending like 7 hours because we knew too much about GI Joe, that we went off on tangents about every GI Joe character, history of the show, comic books, the old illustrators. So we need somebody to keep us just the pro on just the tips.
Yeah, if anybody out there didn't know about DNS and their knowledge on GI Joe, you are about to be extremely impressed. This guy's knowledge is stupid. This dude is the encyclopedia on GI Joe. He's going to explain what's up with Zartan. I actually know about Zartan. Just you know, kind of what he does. That's why I like the show. Oops, all Zartans. And all of them are going to be different. But that'll be a fun one, man. That'll be cool.
Yeah, good guys as well. I'm sure they're going to do a fun little IG live for it. I don't know why I said it that way. They're going to do a fun IG live for it.
Yeah.
A fun, cute little IG live for it.
Yeah.
I don't know why the fuck I said it that way. Sorry, man. But yeah, that'll be a fun recap on that.
Yeah.
Definitely, we're going to be hitting the stories tomorrow with all of the posts for the, oh my goodness, Time Bender art show. Fuck sakes.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that one. That's going to be a good one. 11 artists, including himself. But dude, I can just imagine that there's going to be some super sick. I mean, the piece just in general, right, is dope.
It's a fun sculpt, dude. And I was thinking about this during the show actually as well. Like when we were looking through their body of work, we're at a point in the scene where there's kind of something for everybody. Like so many of the homies these days have at this point made a figure for production, that there's so many styles out there. I don't think we've really seen a vinyl figure quite like this one from one of the homies yet.
Yeah. You know, the space helmet and it's clear too is always, I haven't seen that one.
It's just a good figure, man.
It is. Oh, dude, that's the is that like a PSK?
Oh yeah, Phantom Star Killer. I wonder.
It doesn't say, but it kind of looks like that, right? With the orange and the blue, and then the green face. But either way, man, they're just it's a great figure. And I was talking to Eddie the other day, man, and we were that's a great one. We were talking about kind of shows. Oh, dude, I love the cracked mask in that. Did you see that? But we were talking about shows, and we were talking about ETC in general, and bringing back, like the Space Squad show and the Eno shows and stuff like that. And I thought, man, what a great way to take a really dope figure and just kind of put it back in the light over and over and over again. You know what I mean? I think the Time Bender could be something like that, where you could see multiple shows of it, especially since he said that he likes ETC's format that he uses, and that's kind of how he goes. But I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's a good way to just kind of keep pieces fresh, you know, and then it kind of stirs the, you know, imagination of what you could do with a blank, something like that. And I think there's going to be a lot of that going on tomorrow. I think there might be quite a few people looking for blanks of those tomorrow after the show. So
that's, yeah. One, it's going to be super interesting to see what everybody makes, but two, I think you're right. Yeah, there's going to be homies in the scene that definitely want some blanks of this afterwards to make up their own versions, and that's kind of the best part about doing these, right? Is hopefully those old homies sell some. Hopefully you also end up encouraging people to go to your store to grab some blanks, or at least spark interest in the figure.
Yep.
Anyways,
Skull Spacesuit says DNS. Yeah, dude, that's a winner every time. Every time. But yeah, GI show next week. And then the following week is Yuckamuck, I believe. That'll be a fun one. That's just hanging out with the Yuck, so that'll be cool.
Yuckamuck's they're another one, man. Their portfolio has absolutely expanded tenfold in the last year. You ever heard of the 10,000 hour rule?
I have heard of it.
Yeah, I think if anything, them doing this like card back series is kind of that. They're only getting better and better and better as they're basically being forced to try new things, and I can't even actually imagine what their mold collection must look like at this point.
Oh God, it's probably extensive, right? Because I think those are all different for every single one. And you know, Yuck doesn't do a lot of stuff repeatedly. There's some stuff that pops up now and again, but it seems like most of his stuff is all new stuff that he does do. But I remember when that card back series started, and I remember saying that, like, dude, he's definitely onto something here, because it's real historical stuff. It's weird events. It's God, it's so many things, dude, that I think is like, to me, if you took his card back series and you made TV shows out of those, I'd be interested in every single one of them. You know what I mean? Because it's just kind of that odd. It's very cool, dude. The way I don't know how he selects those. We'll probably ask him in a couple weeks, but the ones that he comes up with, dude, they're fucking great. And that's another one, just like Kachina Kachina was saying, what brought him into you know, like resin casting and stuff was people making the figures, but also incorporating the card back with them, and then the card back becoming a piece either on its own or the majority of the piece, and then you have the figure is maybe just a regular figure. But I think that definitely applies to that card back series from Yuck, man. You do have the figure, but it's more about the story and the event and the card back, honestly, on there. And he does a great job. He nails it every time. But those are super cool pieces. I have a couple of those, and they're still going, man. I don't know how long he planned that series to be when it first started, but it's been a couple. Gosh, dude, I don't know what the first one was, but it's been a while now.
I think the rule was always till I get bored.
Yeah,
I think that was always kind of I'm going to kind of do this until I don't want to anymore. Unlike Zymet's, like, I will do a Friday drop every Friday till the day I die. Try and stop me. Yeah, no, Yuck was very much like, I'll go till I'm bored.
Yeah. And then I'll do something else. I'll change my whole account, and then I'll just do something else, and I'll release those as I see fit. Which, dude, if you're not doing this thing full time, or this is your like main source of income, I could definitely see the benefits to just being able to put stuff out at your leisure, and just kind of doing it just to do it and say, hey, this is cool. I made this. Someone should buy this. So,
all right, dude. I think we're trying stretching the last 5-10 minutes of the show to make it a perfect 2 hours, long enough. I think we let these yahoos get on with their week. Fuck Toys, it was nice that you ended up joining, homie. I hope that the I'm trying to think, event this evening went well for you.
Nice, yes.
Yeah, I know things about people.
Oh man. Until next week, man, that'll be a fun one. And look at this, dude. We're just at 2 hours. We're going to be able to do the clips on this one and see what those look like. Hey now. Have a great weekend, everybody. You too, Pope Toy or Tape Fiend. I just saw that. Right on. See you next week. Later.